I think you can answer that question on various levels. Actually, I saw a cartoon on Facebook that I think began to shed some light on this question strangely. And it was a man speaking to God and saying, God, why do you allow all these terrible things that go on? And God said back to the man, well, it's funny, I could ask you the same question. And although that doesn't completely answer the question from a philosophical point of view, I think it does put it in perspective that most, if not all, of the problems on this planet are caused by people, or could be solved by people at least. And there are some evil people in the world who go out of their way to cause suffering for whatever twisted reason they may have. And you have some good people who really try hard to help people in all sorts of ways, whether it's spiritually per se or maybe materially. It's all good stuff that's helping the world. And it's wonderful how many different ways there are to help that suit different abilities, personalities, ideologies, etc. But in between those two extremes, you have the vast majority. And the vast majority of people, it would seem, don't really do very much, if anything at all. And most people, even nice people, maybe our next door neighbour who we get on really well with, is very sweet and charming and kind if you needed a favour. But in terms of the average person's world outlook, it is about finding happiness for themselves and those immediately close to them.
It's as if everyone seems to imagine that it's someone else's responsibility, that there's almost there's all this poverty and suffering in the world, rather than our own as individuals and what we can do about it.
A common get out is blaming governments. And governments, I'm sure, to a large extent do deserve that blame. But I often think when people are criticising politicians, I think, well, I'd like to see you try and do that job. It's not an easy job. We're a democracy. You could try and get elected. You could change all these things that you're complaining about, rather than, working 9 to 5 with no scrutiny at all, except maybe from one boss, then going home and watching TV. Whatever you think of politicians, they have a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure. Now, maybe they fail in that, but they do have it. They do face that challenge, whatever the motives may be. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good, sometimes they're probably mixed. But I think there should be less complaining about what other people are or aren't doing, and more doing.
More taking responsibility for making a difference.
Exactly, because we can all make a difference. Every single person on earth can make a difference. I was going to say it doesn't matter how much money you have or how clever you are. It does, because if you have a lot of money or you're very clever, you're in a position to do more good. However, everyone, regardless of their wealth, regardless of their intelligence, can make a massive difference. And at the end of the day, someone with a good heart, determination, and the right intentions is going to be 100 times more valuable than the richest, cleverest guy in the world, if that guy is not interested in helping others.
Actually, one of the things that I loved about the 12 blessings, and actually any other spiritual practice that you can do to help others, is that there are no barriers in terms of who you are, where you come from, how much money you have. Everyone has that potential within them, and if they have that love and determination, like you say, they can invoke that spiritual energy through 12 blessings and send it out.
Well, discrimination, in its negative sense, is an entirely man-made phenomenon. God does not distinguish between nationality, colour, even religion. God does not discriminate on the grounds of religion. The only discrimination there is, if you can call it that, is how much someone really wants to do good and how much effort they put into that. That is the only thing that matters. And if you really want to do good, you will be given a way to do good. But I feel I haven't really addressed the question from a philosophical point of view. One of the main reasons why there is suffering in the world is because life is about experience. It's about learning lessons through karma. And whatever experience we're going through, we have an opportunity to become better people, wiser people. We don't always take that opportunity, but we have it. Every single second of our lives gives us an experience which, if taken in the right way, can take us closer to God realization. Sometimes the experience might be pleasant, and sometimes it might be unpleasant. Often, the more unpleasant the experience is, though, the greater it is as a teacher. I think probably we can all relate to that a bit. It's the times we've maybe felt very alone or depressed even, that ultimately have given us the strength to improve later on in life.